We're just trying to set up a starting line such that each end of the line is equidistant to the first place the boats are going to go, which is stragglers, end of stragglers right there. The one caveat I have to say to that is that because the boats to windward have a slight advantage in that if they start equal with the boat next to them, they can blanket their wind. I want to favor this end of the line just a little bit. The wind is pretty much right out of the north, which is pretty unusual for around here this time of year, but anyway, there it is. The start is right here. Here's this end of the line. Race is around both St. James Islands, first counterclockwise, and then going clockwise around both islands, and then coming back, rounding the pin, and then third time is going to be the team's decision whether they go clockwise or counterclockwise. Here is the mighty Huron Girl, skippered by Mike Finley over here. Desperado, skippered by Chuck Pessler. It's Magic Bus, skippered by our very own Bruno Coco Bombolone. Here's One Love, skippered by Bill McConnell. Boat Drinks over here. Looks like Rob Upson is at the helm. We have Red Dog. And Red Dog is skippered by Mike Williams. We have the mighty Roundabout, skippered by Suki Rosenberg. We have Stinger, skippered by Steve Rollo. We have Bavaria 33, that's skippered by Laura Martin. And we have the mighty Bill T, skippered by Addison Caproni. White Album over! White Album! But you got Bill T and you got Roundabout. They both started near the pin. You can see Bill T. They both had really good starts. Bill T is struggling to get on Roundabout's air. They're almost on it. And so Roundabout's luffing a little bit. That shifts their apparent wind forward, keeps their air clear. Bill T has to respond. Of course, they would rather roll onto them if they can. So they're closing the gap. You can see what Roundabout's doing now to clear their air. Is it going to work? Bill T has to keep clear. Oh, that could have been a foul right there. That could have been a foul. Oh, we need to go follow the action. Here we go. Okay, didn't really get to see how Bill T managed to get ahead of Roundabout, but they did. Meanwhile, Desperado is doing a really good job of staying out of the fray, sailing a straight course, and not going high like everybody else is. Desperado, I'm guessing, is going to round the stragglers in third. Although depending on how much Roundabout and Bill T mess with each other, it could be a little bit, it could be better than that. Hard to tell, of course, but it's a pretty nicely packed fleet. It's a long stretch with a headland that's going to block the wind. So the question is, how far off the headland do you want to stay? Staying further off probably gives you better wind. Being closer minimizes distance. So that's the question. And you've got two boats that are first and second. Let's see if the Suki team can gain on the Addison Caproni team, by finding a better distance off the headland. My guess is that whatever Suki does, Addison's going to match, because that is a sensible thing to do. Looks like Red Dog is currently in third place, but behind them is looks like Desperado, Huron Girl, and then Magic Bus, One Love, Boat Drinks, and Stinger.
Where's Bavaria?
Look what just happened to Addison's sails. He sailed into a complete hole. It's the wind shadow of the headland, and so he's in an apparent header. He sheeted in. Now he's just starting to get into the breeze. You can see that Roundabout closed the gap, and Red Dog's closing the gap as well. Same reason. But as the leader gets back into the breeze a little bit, I don't think Roundabout's gaining any more. Now you can see Addison's experimenting with easing his main. As he gets lifted, he's able to head up a little more. So and you see how everybody got in the boat to maintain a constant angle of heel? That's like really good stuff. They're steering with their weight, so they don't have to use the rudder. Look at that. And they do it automatically because they are experienced racers. Look at Red Dog. They're doing a nice job of closing on Roundabout. Look at that. Now Roundabout's got to worry about the boats coming up behind them. They're very active on the leader. It's one of the reasons they're leading. But they're, you can see like people are moving with every change in velocity, and Addison's very careful about which way he points the boat and how they trim the sails. That's a clinic they're putting on up there. You see the red telltales in the back of their jib? See how they're stalled much of the time? Let's go look at their boat, see if it's doing the same thing. So you're looking at the telltales on this side of the sail. I haven't seen one stall yet. You can see they're not only active with their crew weight, but look at Christian. He's constantly adjusting the jib trim. So that jib is never stalling. Look at that. Everything's alive on that boat. Both sheets are constantly being played. The weight is being played, and the steering is being played the whole time. But now we'll see. See here, focus on these two boats. Red Dog was right on his transom last time. It looks like Roundabout gained by attacking when they did, right? You can see now that they've gained like 2 boat lanes in that exchange. Peter Holmberg is an Olympic sailor. Yeah, he actually won a silver medal in the Olympics, and he won the America's Cup, and he sailed here his whole life. So if he tacked early, it's probably because it's a good idea, although you never know. That was a roll tack you just filmed. It was a pretty good one. So they have to keep those marks to port, so they tack to do that, but they're not giving it an inch more than they need to, right? So they feel there's adverse current, and they're staying close to shore and out of the current. Look how much they've gained on Red Dog by doing that. So here's Roundabout. They gained a lot on Red Dog by staying as close to shore and therefore out of the current as they could. And but they sure haven't caught Bill T, who's just increasing their lead. Red Dog has opened up on the rest of the fleet too. Finley did a nice job. Of fetching the buoy. Boat Drinks is now in 5th place. It looks like they've passed Desperado, but Boat Drinks, Desperado, Stinger, all very close. Magic Bus is next. They're doing well. And we got One Love, and then White Album. I'm hoping that they tack on this side of that buoy. And there they go. Okay, good. You see that the boat heeled right then and nobody moved. That's different from the way the leader is sailing. You notice the difference? So every time the boat heels, it changes. Look what Mike's doing with the tiller. See how much he has to move it? And that's because nobody's moving in response to slight changes in wind velocity or waves. You really want to try to sail the boat at a constant angle of heel. Mike's using 2 hands to steer. I guarantee Addison's not doing that. The same thing here, right? You see how nobody moves immediately in response to changes in heel angle. Boat's heeling a lot. And finally the guy comes up, right? But it's not an immediate thing, real time. Yeah, telltales look pretty good. I mean, the guy's got his hand on the winch handle. He's looking at the jib. I mean, that boat's trimmed very nicely. You can see they're getting their weight as far forward as possible. They're just sailing as low as they can without blanketing the jib. There the jib's blanketed. So what do? They just heel the boat to heat it up just enough to keep the jib full. Kind of surprised. I would have my main out a little more. It looks like they're doing something unusual with the main sheet. Let's see what that is. So Thomas had the main sheet in his hand. Now they're going wing on wing. You can see Christian doing a great job winging the jib. He actually needs to hold his hand a little bit lower and bring in the top of the sail. This is adverse current, so what they're doing is staying as close to shore as possible to minimize the slowing effect of current. Current cut is the channel between Water Point and Great St. James Island. There's a rock in the middle called Current Rock. This is one of the places where the Atlantic Ocean flows into the Caribbean Sea, or in other cases, the Caribbean Sea flows into the Atlantic Ocean. And right now, if you look at the water here, you can see there's a standing wave. And what that tells you is that the wind is against the current. So the wind is blowing this way, and that means the current is going that way, and that's how you know it's an adverse current. That's why all these people are hugging the shore here to stay out of that adverse current. You can see Thomas is as far forward as he can be. They have one crew standing on the deck, and what they're doing is they're getting their weight far enough forward that most of the transom is out of the water. And so anytime you're sailing downwind and light wind, you really want your weight forward, and that's what they're doing. So this circumnavigation took them 38 minutes and 35 seconds, maybe 37. And so they can compare that with the next circumnavigation and help use the difference to figure out which way they want to go next time around. So that's 51 minutes and 5 seconds for Red Dog. Nice rounding, nice rounding. Main in early, jib in late. Very nice rounding. And 13 seconds. So that's not as good. You see how the jib's in early and the main was in too, and so the boat is going sideways compared with the way Red Dog rounded. Desperado in 6th. And Magic Bus, I don't know why they put the spinnaker up, but they shouldn't have. One Love's at 54 minutes exactly. Okay, this is the mighty Bill T, skippered by Addison Caproni with Thomas Barrows, Christian Rosenberg, and a young lady whose name I don't know. But they're leading by about, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of a mile. And just look at, they're reaching, and look where the Jib Fairlead car is. Jib Fairlead car is all the way forward, and what that does is it takes a lot of twist out of the jib. So these guys, even though they have a huge lead, are still sailing really, really well. Look at that, instant motion to accelerate the boat and to minimize the amount that the boat heels. Constant angle of heel at all times, in real time. It's a beautiful thing. Well, this certainly was a surprise. Addison rounded the pin like 2.5 minutes ahead of roundabout and went the way that took 4 minutes less. Somehow, the incredible team of Suki Rosenberg and Peter Holmberg figured out that the current had changed and that going counterclockwise was now going to be the faster way to go. Okay, so there's Bill T leading the entire way by a ton, and because they had to make the choice and made the right choice, would seem to me, they just barely beat Huron Girl, and I think they were like 6 minutes ahead of Huron Girl in the last rounding of the pin.